Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Play, Pause, Rewind. It is our 115th episode. Took a week off for some family stuff, but we're back to talk about another movie. Niles, how have you been the last few weeks?
I've been busy as always, but a good kind of busy where it's like, yeah, just like you're saying, reconnecting with some people, focusing on the family, doing things outside while we still can with the nice weather in summer, and
Mm-hmm.
watching some good things every now and then. And I'm also like lately I've also been kind of like on the other side of like I've always so used to just being on the other like an audience member watching things,
Mm-hmm.
like whether that's a
Yeah.
movie or a commercial. And now I'm like kind of in my job right now. I'm on the other side where I'm kind of putting it all together, and it's making
Yeah.
me appreciate the organization that goes into video productions. It's crazy. You don't
Mm-hmm.
think about all the details, but yeah. How have you been doing?
Pretty good, yeah. Bit busy as well. Works crazy as always. Went to the mountains with my family for a weekend, and that's why we're a week late. I got back on like last Monday, and we normally release these on Wednesday, so like I don't have time to see a movie and get an
Hmm.
episode out. So, but that was fun. Went up to Breckenridge, did some hiking, went to the breweries, got some food, and yeah. Other than that, it's just work. We had a long weekend, holiday weekend, Labor Day. Thank you to our union forebearers for granting us all the labor rights that we so enjoy today.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so happy Labor Day to our American audience members. I guess it's come and gone now, but um, excuse me. As always, we are here to review a movie, and this week we are talking about Honey Don't, directed by Ethan Coen and written by Coen and his wife, Trisha Cook. Honey Don't stars Margaret Qualley, Aubrey Plaza, Chirs Evans, and Charlie Day. The film follows Honey O'Donoghue, a small town private detective, as she investigates a suspicious death and finds herself embroiled in a larger plot involving a local unsavory church. Niles, what are your initial non-spoiler thoughts on Honey Don't?
I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna say I'm a little disappointed in this movie because
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting more from it. Um, Mainly because like I don't know, maybe my expectations are high because we've talked about a lot about some really good movies lately, Dylan,
Mm-hmm.
on this podcast. We've seen a lot of really good things lately, um, so maybe that's kind of coloring my perspective too. But like, it's such a stacked cast. I
Yeah.
really do love like all the big names attached to this project. You and I think we both like the Coen brothers, like a lot of their
Mm-hmm.
work, I would say. And I love Charlie Day. I think he's hilarious. I love Chirs Evans. Aubrey Plaza, Margaret Qualley. They're all fantastic. These really
Mm-hmm.
great big names, and there's just something in there that I think is missing. It's really hard to put my finger on it, but I'm kind of feeling like there's a significant portion of this movie that was cut for time or something, or some kind of other studio related reason or something. That's just my working theory right now. I've got nothing to back that
Mm-hmm.
up. So who knows? Maybe something will come out soon that gives us a little bit more context. But I just feel like there's some things missing. It's just tough to figure out why I
Mm-hmm.
feel so unsatisfied at the end here after watching this movie. And you know, yeah, people like Charlie Day, Chirs Evans, they really bring some good levity to the movie, and Margaret Qualley, I think, really carries the movie pretty well um, as well. But yeah, I just feel like there's just like, eh, yeah, there's something missing in the formula here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what are some of your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. I think this was just okay. I was
Mm-hmm.
really excited for it as it's a like detective film from one of the Coen brothers. Great cast and what looks like really solid visuals and atmosphere, and it is all of that. However, it just
Mm-hmm.
like it really feels like there's a lot missing, and it doesn't really hit the mark or all come together in a satisfying way. I think like maybe I don't know if it was studio interference necessarily, but it does feel like a lot was cut out or the movie was just trying to do too much. Like the film is just 90 minutes long. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot going on in it and none of it really feels complete to me. It feels like a
Yeah.
lot of half-baked ideas that all work a bit, but not entirely. And it's interesting to me because I think I enjoyed each individual scene and element in the movie, but the movie itself ends up feeling lacking.
Yeah, I would agree with that because I think that there's lots of good elements, good scenes. A lot of the dialogue's very quippy, and I think that there's some really strong character interactions here. But overall, I think that like the movie is just it's fine, just like what you were saying. It's just okay. And I think it does depend on what you're interested in too. Because I was thinking about this, I was pouring through some Reddit threads on this just to try and get like see what other people were thinking on it, and like there are some people out there who did like this movie a lot, and like I think they found some good qualities in here. Like if you're looking for like a casual mystery movie that has like a unique style, pays some homage to noir films of the past, I'd probably recommend this movie. I think that it checks that box if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for a film that has like really strong sexual swagger, if you're looking for a movie that has some lesbian sex scenes, this is the one. This has it for sure.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for like a much stronger detective noir film, with lots of twists and turns, with like some really cool like A, B, C plots, whatever, I just don't think you're going to find it here. I think you're going to be disappointed with what you get.
Yeah, I think you're saying the same thing, but ultimately I'd like a lukewarm recommendation from me. Like if you're looking for something to go see in the theater and you're okay with kind of just riding with the vibe of the movie, which this movie does well at, go check it out. But I wouldn't expect to feel fully satisfied from the narrative, or really, I like the characters, but they're really not that much outside of tropey. And it's fine. Like, it's okay. I expect more from the fucking Coen brothers. I know this is just Ethan Coen. It's not them working together, but like, I had high hopes, and this really didn't measure up to them. But do you have any other non-spoiler thoughts before we jump in?
No, I think I'll just reiterate that. It's like when you see those big names attached to the project, you see Chirs Evans, you see Aubrey Plaza, you see Charlie Day. I just kind of assume, and you see Coen on the title too. You're like, okay, that's gonna be a good movie. That's gonna be like a Knives Out. That's gonna like be a really cool detective movie. And I just have this faith that these actors that just sign onto this script, and then it's just like, oh no, the movie's actually like not really the quality that you were expecting. I know that lots of things change over the course of making a movie, but it's like, if you sign on to a movie, I feel like you see the vision, you see where it could be, you see how good it can be. And I think it just fell flat, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I think from the actor's perspective, it's like they're probably signing on to work with Ethan Coen, and they're trusting the vision there. And I don't know, I don't know enough about them personally, but like the Coen brothers have not been working together on films for a little bit. And maybe they need to, join forces again and come back together, because from what I understand, the run of Ethan Coen's movies recently have not been up to par of what they were when they were working together. But who knows, man? I don't know.
Yeah, at this point. But let's get into spoilers. Why not? That's what we're here for. With Honey, Don't.
Yeah. I'll say positive off the bat. I think the atmosphere is great. The movie overall looks good. I think it's a great setting for a noir detective story as well. And maybe this is just because I started rewatching True Detective Season 1 to show it to my sister. But this kind of reminded me a bit of True Detective. Like, it's a small, rundown town. There's the involvement of a sketchy religious organization with powerful figures kind of controlling things from off screen. So I don't know. It just kind of gave me that vibe just a little bit.
I get that. It just needs a little bit more like Wiccan
Hmm.
mysticism, a sprinkle
Yeah.
of weapons in there or something,
Hmm.
just to make it even better. But I agree. Like I think the aesthetics of Honey Don't are excellent. Like the set designs feel really good. The props,
Hmm.
costumes, characters, dialogue. There's even some really cool shots, I would say. None that really come to mind right now that like pop out at me as
Hmm.
like super memorable. But I remember in the theater being like, "Oh, that's kind of cool. It's like a little diopter effect or something like that."
Yeah.
So there's some cool shots. But I think like all cohesively, they create this like you're saying, this nice stellar atmosphere that feels like you're in this
Hmm.
rundown middle of nowhere town. Um, I have a suggestion since we're on the topic of aesthetics for the Coen for Ethan Coen.
Hmm.
If you were going to redo this
Oh,
movie,
you have thoughts for one of the Coen brothers, Niles?
yes, because I know he's listening to me.
Some filmmaking advice for one of the most legendary filmmakers of our era.
Just take it from me, the guy on YouTube. Um, no, it was just like a thought because I feel like in some of those old detective noir films, you kind of get
Hmm.
like this. They're kind of campy in a way by today's standards, but
Yeah.
like I think it because it does feel like a homage to those types of movies and it feels
Hmm.
reminiscent of them. So I'm like, what if you just kind of leaned a little more into that and gave like Margaret Qualley's character, Honey, if you just gave her like this ongoing monologue with herself and
Like
the
an internal
audience.
monologue.
Yeah, this internal
Hmm.
monologue where she's kind of like trying to piece together all the clues and she's like, well, I saw that over here and then it was over here. But, then it gets
Hmm.
really campy, I think. But I think it could have been a fun angle to explore, lean into that a little bit, and in that way,
Hmm.
then too, it's like okay, the whole movie's kind of through her perspective. She could become an
Hmm.
unreliable narrator to a certain extent. Like, how much do you trust what she's telling us in her monologue? But just a thought for the next time, Mr. Cohen.
Yeah, that would have been fun, and the way she talks in this movie would lend itself really well to that type of monologue. I do think Margaret Qualley here is good. I liked her performance.
Mm-hmm.
I think Honey herself is a solid enough protagonist, like a bit tropey, but I like that she has like her sister that she is close with, and it's kind of like a loving aunt to the legion of children that her sister has, and
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. Interesting.
yeah, absolutely. And I think Honey O'Donoghue, she kind of is reminiscent of this classic noir detective. She reminds me of it.
Hmm.
She's married to the job. She's got these unhealthy vices to kind of help her cope. She
Hmm.
drinks, she smokes, she sleeps around. She's doing like kind of all these things. I think she embodies that really well. And in a way,
Hmm.
I think she fits it like even better in some respects. But it's nice to just see her like this lesbian, this female
Yeah.
person too. Not,
Hmm.
yeah, this female, let's just say that. She came into this traditionally
Well, I
male dominated role.
right, but it's interesting too because like traditionally this archetype is like a Humphrey Bogart type actor, right? But
Yes.
but in this is she is a girl, but she's still attracted to women and like femme fatales in the same way that the
Mm-hmm.
Humphrey Bogart type, So it is so her being like a lesbian specifically does kind of play into that trope, but just a gender swapped version of it. But they
Mm-hmm.
keep the
Yeah.
attraction the same in that way.
Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, she's always just kind of on that lookout for the next sexual escapade to distract her from work.
Hmm.
Um, just leaning into that trope even further. Just a side note that I just wanted to say while we're on the topic of Honey and Margaret Qualley is that I'm just glad to see Margaret Qualley as an actor just kind of blowing up these days. Like, I
Hmm.
just think that she's great. She's talented. She's getting the recognition she deserves. So I was excited to see her
Yeah.
like leading this film. Not to say that that's been her only lead because she was in that other body horror movie,
The
but
the
she's been blowing
substance.
up.
Did you see the
Yeah,
substance?
Substance. I have not seen it. It's I'm kind of avoiding it.
I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I
It's
probably would.
fun. Yeah, but I think the big problem for me is just lack of payoff for a lot of things. Like one example of this is when Honey's dad shows up. Like he's introduced as kind of this creepy old guy sitting at Corinne, her niece's like fast food place where she works, right?
Hmm.
And he kind of like freaks her out because he waits for her at the bus stop. Is like, "I love you," and then she runs away. And I guess him showing up prompts Corinne to run away and get caught by MG. But I don't think this plot element really added all that much to the movie for me because he kind of turns up, then he does that, and then he goes to Honey's apartment and he says the
Hmm.
same thing, and then he just fucking whines about not like there's no self reflection from him. He's like, "You're gonna be
Yeah.
sad when I'm dead," and then he doesn't show up again. So I'm like,
Yep.
okay, you could have like brought him back at some point or not had him at all. It's like a tangent. It just kind of boom, he's here for a bit and then he doesn't come back.
Yeah. So true. It peters out.
Mm-hmm. You also have the element with like the French, you know, their and how they connect to Reverend Drew, Chris Evans' character's like church and the drug operation. Like on the one hand, I think this is fine. Like going back to True Detective season 1, you know, like the the full scope of what they're dealing with is like beyond them, and I think that's sort of the case here. Like the French are out of the scope of what Honey O'Donoghue is capable of dealing with, right? And
Hmm.
that's fine. But on the other hand, it's focused on enough, but is not the direct cause of like any of the deaths Honey is like looking into that I kind of wanted more texture from it. Like I wanted to die if it's going to be this much of a presence, I like commit and give me more or tone it back. I don't know. How do you kind of feel about that? Do you,
Yeah. No, I agree with you because I think that there were a lot of things that were like introduced and yeah, they just don't go anywhere. They just wander aimlessly. They're just introduced to the plot, and then it's like, okay, so was
mm-hmm,
that ever gonna come back around? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like yeah, Honey's dad is just a distraction, and I
mm-hmm,
don't get a ton of value from it. And then yeah, the French are just kind of a force that's just kind of there in the periphery, but we have like no idea how they're connected to the story, or it's very um, not clearly explained in the story
mm-hmm.
either. And I think like
Yeah.
also like just the murder at the beginning too. Like the whole movie starts off with this girl who's like dies in a car crash outside of town or on the outskirts of town.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know this is partially explained in the movie, but it feels to me like they just this victim, this whole car crash, just kind of gets like forgotten about,
Mm-hmm.
or at least like there's like no justice served at the end. Like Aubrey Plaza's character MG, she it seems like she admitted to the murder by the end of the
Mm-hmm.
movie and may have done it with the French as well, but it's not very clearly explained. And it's like, so does anyone care about that victim? Is like that family honestly seemed like they didn't care that their daughter was dead. Like it's just I don't know. It just feels like they just forgot about her.
Yeah, I like we'll come back to it, but she definitely didn't do it with Cher. But
Okay.
I'll get back to that after when we circle back to MG and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
you had a hypothesis about why it's like
Yeah.
this.
I think my hypothesis is just that this movie was going to be much longer than 90 minutes. It probably
Mm-hmm.
had a lot more scenes set up because yeah, there was a lot of ideas that were set up in this movie. Lots of great ideas, lots of interesting
Mm-hmm.
places where it could go, and it just didn't really care to spend the time to carry everything over the finish line and make it really great. Or there's like characters who are introduced for like a second and they have a few lines, and then we never see them again, and that's fine ultimately. But like, I
Mm-hmm.
kind of expected Honey's like admin assistant to have more of a presence in the movie with the amount of lines she had, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
she's there and she's like trying to provide feedback and help Honey along. And
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Day's character's there too. He's got some great lines. I love it, but he doesn't do anything except make jokes and sit around behind a desk. And it's like, I don't
Right.
know. I feel like there could have been more.
Yeah, like, and comparing it, and forgive me if I'm like remembering it incorrectly because it's been a long time since I've seen it, but another Coen Brothers movie, like Burn After Reading. That movie starts, and a lot of things seem like disconnected, and like they're their own
Mm-hmm.
separate storylines. But then things start to weave together in really fun ways, and it like converges in a way. It feels more intentional, and this one, it just doesn't. Nothing like clicks into place like
Yes.
it feels like it should. And that's a shame because I think, and I don't even think adding to the runtime would necessarily fix that. I have an idea of how it could have been fixed, but you're right. Like it feels like movie is missing from it. Like a good chunk of movie is just gone because nothing feels fully cooked. But just a couple miscellaneous notes. Reverend Drew has the it's like it's so funny. He has the funniest reaction to Cher telling him she's gonna kill him. Like they have sex, and then he's like, "Why'd you change your mind?" And she's like, "Well, I thought you should experience it once before you die." And then she pulls out a gun, and then Chris Evans just goes like, "Ooh," and then she shoots him.
Yeah.
And I thought it's so funny. I don't
Oh, I
understand
love
what
that.
the reaction is. Like was he turned on by her getting ready to kill him, or did he think he was gonna like talk his way out of it? Either way is very funny, but it's the last time you see the character because you hear the
Yeah.
gunshot on screen. But he's just like, ooh.
I love that bit. It's so good.
I
um,
also like I love him as a sleazy preacher too. Like he could have turned up the sleaze a little bit in like certain ways, but I think he works in that role. And I like him as just a scumbag who's very clearly using this church apparatus as a way for sex. Like,
yeah, he's just abusing his power.
yeah, completely.
it's
He's awful. But
it's completely gross.
yeah, I also love his like little Australian henchman guy. I just thought that character was really funny. He's not in the movie all that much, but his delivery was great.
Oh yeah, I loved his lines. He was just such a simpleton. He was
Hmm.
fantastic. I loved him. Such a chump. I wanted more
Yeah.
of him.
Yeah, okay, but pivoting back to the main plot, MG, Aubrey Plaza's character, she's like the evidence locker lady at the police station.
Hmm.
The reveal of her being the killer and I guess a serial killer. Uh, I think her motivation was that she hates people who are victims and like sees them as pathetic, so she kills them. Um, it's
Yeah.
and, and she's like, I killed my dad. I was a victim, but then I stopped being a victim, and she killed the lady at the beginning because people who go to that church are victims and like pathetic or something, and then
Hmm.
she wants to kill Corinne because Corinne is defensive of her abusive boyfriend.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's a little weird of a motivation,
Mm-hmm.
and it's honestly confusing because it's like, wasn't so what? 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 Like, so being a victim is wrong, and so you die because you're. I don't know. It's confusing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like just the whole setup for MG being the killer wasn't great,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Like, this movie's not a whodunit. Like, it's not a Knives Out, where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
if you rewatch Knives Out or you rewatch Glass Onion, you can kind of see all the clues falling into
Right.
place. You know, where you're like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is how it's going to happen. I can see why this guy or such and such is
Mm-hmm.
the villain, and I can kind of piece it together. But it's still a mystery. and you enjoy watching Benoit Blanc figure it out. I think the problem, or one of the problems with this movie, with Honey Don't, is that the reveal of MG being the killer is just underwhelming, or at least it felt underwhelming to me, because there were no fucking clues at all that she had anything to do with the murders up to that point. And maybe I missed something. Maybe like I'd pick up new things on a rewatch and I'd see it kind of click more into place for me a second time around. Who knows? But it's just kind of like, I don't know. I feel it's kind of hollow, the reveal of her being the killer. It's like, okay, why? What? Who's the real villain here? Let's figure that part out.
Yeah, it was just sort of an feeling for me. When it happened, I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I guess she, like, when she comes up from the basement and it's becoming clear that, like, she's kind of not in a great headspace, I'm like, oh, Corinne's in the basement. And when she's going on about how she hates victims, it's like, oh, she would have kidnapped her because she was in Honey's house when Corinne came over, and so she knows about the boyfriend and stuff. I'm like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's not set up really. Maybe it is in the background, but it's not set up in a way that felt interesting to me. Like I wasn't more satisfied by it as a subversion or a culmination than I would have been if the murders were done more directly by the church. I don't think. So
yeah. Well, and I feel like all the stuff with like the church and everything, like it feels like maybe they were trying to throw in some red herrings with the movie to kind of like throw you for a loop or something. Because like immediately from the get-go, I'm like, this Chirs Evans is the murderer. When you watch the trailer, it's like he's the guy who killed her, and it's like I have no doubt in my mind that the church is at fault here. Like it just kind of stands out. But then it's like it's really the French, I guess, and Aubrey Plaza's
well,
character.
it's not, but it's not. It's just Aubrey Plaza. It's like the French. Yeah, and it's like that's why it doesn't fully click into place for me as a movie, because like Honey is both investigating someone who went to the church but was killed by MG and like the traffic accident setup, and her client's boyfriend who's cheating on him is run over by Hector, who works for the church, but the church and their like machinations are kind of just tangential to the actual killings she's investigating. So the most of the interesting stuff that's happening in the movie is just a tangent for her. And then MG being the killer also felt tangential to the church stuff because it wasn't the reason she chose her victims. It was just like people that she would identify as victims go to this church because it's a like indication of their behavior. I think maybe if she was choosing her victims based on them going to the church, that would have like tied it together. Like if Chirs Evans was getting in trouble from his higher ups, the French, because people at his church keep dying, and the French are having to like cover it up for him so they can maintain this operation. But he's like, he doesn't know what's going on and he's frustrated by it, but he just wants to keep being a sleazebag. But then there's a serial killer who hates the people who seek out his affirmation, who's killing people. I think that would have kind of tied it together in a way that felt more satisfying for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it just feels like there's too many mysteries going on that are simultaneously loosely and closely connected to each other and the church. There's just it's like the world's easiest jigsaw puzzle, but it's missing like half of the pieces.
Yeah, and it doesn't like paint a cohesive picture when you put it together. It's just like a couple different drawings or something. But
there's some holes.
Yeah, but the ending. So we have, after things are resolved, MG gets shot in the head by Honey. They rescue Corinne, and Honey is just like, recovered. She's out driving around, and she pulls up next to Cher on her moped, and she seems to recognize her from earlier in the movie when she hears the gunshot killing Chris Evans, and then Cher drives away, and she kind of smiles at her. It seems to me like it's a thing of, oh, she's gonna like either try to seduce this lady or recognizes her and is gonna try to keep looking into the case and is gonna get in over her head and get herself killed. But what do you think was going on there?
I could see that, and I could also see it just being like another kind of sexual adventure for her. Because Honey even kind of said it in the movie. She's like, yeah, you know, in relationships, I never make it past the third date. She just seems to be kind of like constantly hooking up with people that she finds attractive, and that's totally cool. So I feel like it was kind of one of those moments where she kind of saw that again and fell into that vice and was like, I'm gonna try and do this. But yeah, I think it is kind of one of those moments where Ethan Coen's trying to get us to say, honey, don't go and sleep with Cher because she's gonna kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Well, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was okay. I had a fun enough time watching it, but yeah. Any final thoughts on Honey Don't?
No, I think we covered it. But yeah, maybe it is one of those movies where you need to watch it twice to get more out of it. I don't know, but it'll be a long time before I do that. But yeah, if you like those kinds of movies, I think that you'd like Honey Dope. But I don't have much else to say about her.
All right, well, let's transition into some other stuff. Niles, what have you been watching or reading or playing or whatever?
So I've been continuing on with this documentary series that we've been watching called OJ Made in America. I talked about it on the last episode. It is basically just like each episode's like an hour and a half, and it's not just going through like the trial and how he definitely killed those people. It's like, you know, kind of putting into context his life and like the politics, the social landscape of the time in America. So it's actually pretty fascinating to just like kind of take this step back and like, oh yeah, things were really different. Not a ton has changed, but things were really different. And it just kind of contextualizes a lot of things, not just with OJ, but like American society as a whole, I would say. But it's fascinating. I definitely recommend it. We also the other day went back and rewatched an old classic, Zoolander. Man, oh man, that's a fantastic movie. I love that movie.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it's a little dated, but you know, I think a lot of it still holds up. Like there's definitely some kind of like some stuff that's like a little like transphobic and stuff, but overall it's still a pretty solid movie, and it's like a blast from the past where you're like, oh my god, I remember using those kinds of like computers, like the one that Owen Wilson has to break open to get the files. Those old Apple
Where'd all the files go?
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, it still holds up in a lot of ways. Zoolander's great. And the only other thing that I've really been watching lately is Alien Earth, and it's pretty fascinating. I know you've been watching it too, Dylan, right?
Yeah. I guess we can talk about it a little bit together. What do you think of it so far? How are you caught up?
Yeah, I'm caught up.
Okay.
As far as I know, I'm liking it a lot. I think the first two episodes were a little slow and it's kind of a little tough to get into. But now it's like the plot's starting to roll a little bit faster, and I'm interested to see where it goes, especially like our main character has like this kind of connection now with the alien species, and it's I'm fascinated to explore that more in its entirety. But all the alien stuff, like, I love all the alien stuff going on in the movie, or in the show. What are some of your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think it does. I can see people going both ways on this, like either liking it or really hating it, but it kind of just does Alien at the start for the first like 10 minutes. It kind of recreates Alien on a different ship, which I found, but I think what it does something kind of smart in the first 2 episodes where it gives you a lot of the like xenomorph-centric horror and action just right up front, and then I'm sure we're going to get more of it later in the season, but it's like, okay, get it out of your system. We're going to do something else for a little while. It's going to be about like Timothy Olyphant experimenting and this like weird billionaire man-child like manipulating these adult children in different ways. And we're going to do that for a while. And I'm really enjoying that. I also like the glimpses into the world on Earth in the Alien universe. I don't think we've gotten that before. I haven't seen Alien 3 or Resurrection, so that's on me for not having done that. But
me too.
Yeah, the corporate politics at play, I think, are kind of interesting, and I want more of that. I don't know. Maybe when the season ends, we can talk about. Maybe we do an episode on it. Maybe we don't. But I think it's a very interesting show so far, and I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and it's kind of satiating that alien desire I have.
Yeah, I do. It makes me more interested to see the conclusion to Ridley Scott's Prometheus films, though, too. Like the emphasis on the android characters and all that stuff. I'm like, I want to see what that fucker David's up to next. Like, control of a whole colony ship. I want to see what he does with it. Like, he's a little freak.
That would be good to check out.
Yeah, I don't remember loving Alien Covenant, but I only saw it the one time, so I don't know. I want to see more of David and his shenanigans. But
right.
yeah. But I've also started reading Philip K. Dick's The Man in the High Castle, and if for anyone who doesn't know the premise of that book, it is an alternate 1960s where the Axis won World War II, and America is split between occupation on the west side of, I guess, the Rockies, the Japanese, and the east side, the Nazis. And we're following, I'm not that far into it, I'm like 50 pages in, but like following different characters living under the occupation or who are part of the occupations. And it's really, really interesting. And what it kind of got me for a second there, because like one of the like antiquities shop guy, you know, you kind of are sympathizing with him for a while because he's like under the boot of the Japanese occupation and he's just doing his best to get this client the object he wants, and you're like, oh, I kind of feel for this guy. And then he's like, yeah, things would be so much better if I were on the German side. Like, it's just so great when white people are in charge. It's like, whoa, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like,
all right.
Oh my God.
I guess it is the 1960s, and you're a white supremacist. Oh, no. But I love there's I forget the character's name, but he's on the rocket ship, and he's talking to this like guy who's like a Nazi loyalist, like officer or whatever, and the point of view character, I think he's like, he looks very Aryan, so the guy feels comfortable like being super Nazi-ish to him, and then he leans over, he's like, by the way, I'm a Jew, and you can report me. No one's gonna believe you because I'm really high up in the government and I have a lot of connections. And if you do anything, I'm gonna ruin your life. And in fact, I might just do it anyway. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's a good way to stick it to him.
Yeah, it's like, what are you gonna fucking do about it? But Yeah. Also, continuing on watching the anime Dan Dan Dan, fun show. I like it a lot. I think it's just so weird. It's
Mm-hmm.
like they're dealing with supernatural monsters, but also aliens, and it's great. It's a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then, as I alluded to earlier, I introduced my little sister to the first season of True Detective. We watched the first 2 episodes again. I'm gonna rewatch the whole season at this point. I mean, it's one of my favorite things to ever be on television. It's so good and it holds up so well. We did an
For real.
episode on Night Country early this year, I guess.
A little bit ago,
No.
yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Or no, it was last year. Shit, that was like episode 90.
Oh my god.
Wait, no, that was
You're
episode
right.
8. Episode 80.
Yeah, that was episode
Jesus
80.
Christ.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, that was a long time ago. Yeah, we have posters on the wall of our stuff.
That's what we were looking.
Yeah, but I still need to watch True Detective season 3. But it's just season 1 is like a lightning in a bottle show.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Phenomenal.
And then also Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, continuing on with the season. Feelings on it are pretty much the same as they've been for a while. It's a fun show. I wish it was like the original series was very goofy too at times, but I think Strange New World just skews a bit too much in the goofy realm. And I wish like if the seasons were like 20 episodes or something, I'd be more okay with it if they had like a better balance. But they're only like, I think it's like 10 to 12 each season. So I'm kind of like, okay, do 1 or 2 silly ones, and then the rest of them have like an ethical dilemma or something like that. It's
I
just,
see.
Yeah. And then last thing, I've only played like an hour of this, but I started the game Claire Obscure Expedition 33, and it's a turn-based RPG. And from what I've gathered so far, again, like an hour, and I've done the tutorial basically, but there's this, it's like a sort of Victorian-ish setting, fantasy, but they they live on the coast, and across the sea there's like the paintress or something, and every year the number goes down, and then anyone who is turns the age or is the age of that number just like turns to flowers and dies. And
Wow.
and so happens like one every year on that point, and then they send these expeditions across to go, I don't know, solve the problem. I haven't gotten that far yet, but it's really interesting world building, because it's like, oh, so no one in your society at this point is over the age of 32 as of the event that happened at this point in the game. So it's like that's and then the clock is ticking down too. So I guess they only have 32 years to solve whatever crisis this is before their entire society is wiped out, which I think is super interesting.
That is such a neat premise. Oh my gosh, actually, I'd be fascinated to play that game and see what's
Check and see
what's
if
up
it's
there.
on Switch. Yeah, it might be on the Switch.
I definitely will. I'm gonna check that out. Yeah, I like that premise. That's really neat.
But that's gonna do it for us this week. A bit of a shorter episode, but that happens sometimes. We'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about something. I feel like something was coming out that I was excited
Another
for.
movie, something like that.
Oh well, I don't know when in September it comes out, but One Battle After Another is soon. Maybe that one.
Yeah,
new,
that looks fun.
Paul
We'll
Thomas
find
Anderson.
something to talk about.
Yeah, we'll
for everybody.
figure something out. But thank you all so much for watching or listening. We really appreciate it. We enjoyed doing this show, and we'll be back in 2 weeks for our next episode on whatever that's going to be about. Until then, Niles, where can people find you online?
You can follow me on Instagram at NilesGotNoStyles. What about you, Dylan? Where can people follow you online?
Can follow me on Instagram at DylanD1026, on Twitter at DDayMovies, on YouTube at D-Day Movies. And you can find both of us here at Play Pause Rewind on your podcast platform of choice and on YouTube. You can also find us on our second channel, Play Pause Rewind Videos, where we have clips, non-podcast videos, and like shorts and stuff. All that's linked, in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching again. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Bye.